With 20 years of service under his belt, Chad Hoover has decided it's time to permanently swap his Navy uniform for Columbia's performance fishing gear. So this week, we follow Chad to his new home state of Tennessee, where he hooks up with local angler Scott Heptinstall of EastTNFishing.net.
You know what you call this in the South? That's called a divorce. All right, so here we are. We're right between Middle Tennessee and East Tennessee. I'm with Scott Heptinstall and my #1 fishing buddy, Austin. We've got Hurricane Isaac brewing in the Gulf, so I pulled up Scoutlook and checked it. It looks like we've got 2 good days of fishing. Lake in the middle of nowhere. Scott, what do you think, dude?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, this place is loaded with grass, it's loaded with lily pads, and the bass are starting to feed up on frogs. It is prime time, top water.
So let's stop talking about it and go do it. What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna lock the truck. Let's drag the boats in the water. A monster. A beast to start the day off. Let me get a hold of this massive jaw. Pry that hook out. Nice.
Little bugger. Come here. Still not what we after, but hey, they're biting a little bit. You got him a good one. Keep him tight.
Here we go. Little guy.
I'll tell you what, Chad, you keep babysitting them little bass for me, I'm gonna be swinging for the fence for a monster. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna doctor up this fluke. It's the Pearl White Super Fluke made by Zoom. The main forage in this place is perch. This all white, you know, I've already had a strike on it, but I think if we go with a little bit of orange and chartreuse, I think it might make them react a little better. I always like to give the tail just a nice little, let me get it on there and then I'll show you, just a nice little touch up on the tail. Get a little bit of orange going, a little orange splot coming up and down it like that. Set this right there. We'll come up here. We'll draw a chartreuse line straight down it. These pins that I'm using are called Spike It. They come in a variety pack of 5, or you can buy just one bigger market that has 2 ends on it. They're already pre-garlic scented, and you can actually really custom design and make your baits look really cool, and it does work.
But with a heavy band of thunderstorms rolling in, Scott will have to wait until tomorrow to put his fluke to the real test. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more kayak bass fishing action.
Okay guys, here we are. Day 2. Day 1 got cut short by some torrential downpour. We still managed to pull in a couple of nice fish. Scott tells me that now that he's got his lucky shoes on, he's gonna even the score with these Tennessee bass. Let's grab the kayak, Scott, get in the water and go get them before we lose this low light.
Let's do it.
Cross that line, make some run. Bad day, bottle and a gun you meet. You bet you can't blame no one now, mister. Drove 3 days and you can't look back, cause you find yourself missing. Her hair curls, pain, her toes and a towel in the kitchen. And I'm just sitting away.
Here we go.
Staring at the gate. The rain keeps missing.
Little guy.
Trying to change my ways. It's all in vain. It's what I'm thinking.
Fish.
She liked my work, sing my song. She laughed every time I cursed the phone. She knew to leave well enough alone, and I miss
Little guy. Fun to catch though.
pissed right off from dusk till dawn. So bitter man on Whiskey Road. She's getting out, she's getting gone. I'm drinking. And I just sit
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna play clearing. I'm gonna clear all the little ones out of the way for you. You can try to catch the big ones.
Trying to change my
I'll
way.
tell you something else we can do a little bit later. Put a little bit heavier weight on. Get out there in the middle and make a long cast
yeah.
and drag a worm. So something that'll penetrate into the milfoil.
Yep.
A little better fish.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come on, dude.
She's better off
That's a little
on
keeper.
down the road, and I'm better off all
They're getting
alone.
better.
Breaks my heart. Don't
They're
tell
getting better.
no one I miss her.
My name is Scott Heptinstall. I'm with EastTNFishing. I have a YouTube channel, and we put out a lot of GoPro fishing videos, whether it's riding around in the kayaks or getting out in the boats and running fast. I work with a company called ASAP. That just kind of gets the bills paid, but on the side I run my company called Heptech. I build custom computers, I fix computers, and I do all the video editing to my EastTNFishing stuff. The fishing in Tennessee is very unique and hard compared to a lot of places. It's built up of a bunch of TVA dams. The way that TVA does fluctuate the water, it can cause for hard fishing conditions, but then it can be some of the best in the southeast. Oh,
Fish. It's not a midget. It's a good frog, good fish. Oh, it's a pig. Not a beast. Not a little fish though. Yeah! Oh, hell yeah. And that's a fat dude right there. Big, thick back. You can tell that he hasn't started to feed up yet because his stomach's kind of sunk in. You know, after this fish has been feeding for a little bit, you know, it's 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds heavier. That's a solid 5-pounder, easy. Look at the mouth on that thing. You fit your whole fist down inside it. That's a good fish. Let's get him back in the water, and then we'll talk about this bait. All right, so I'll admit we've struggled today to find big fish. It was awesome to finally get that big fish. So let me show you what I did. This Nervous Walker frog from Evolve is deadly. The legs are really stiff skirt material, so they don't bind up and foul when they land. The frog is super soft, and the hooks are super sticky. I mean, they are just flat out sticky, sharp. I mean, just barely skin yourself. Oh my God, these things are deadly. They got a rattle inside them, it gives it a little bit of extra attraction, makes it sit low in the water, pushes off a little bit wider wake. In this super, super shallow, super clear water, even the slightest wobble of your boat sends a pressure wave out 15 or 20 yards. So what I did there is I was trying to make super long casts, this long rod, a heavy frog, 30-pound cans and braid, 20-pound Seaguar mono leader, and it was just the ticket. You know what, I fish a lot of hard to reach places and a lot of isolated small bodies of water, but I also fish a lot of really big bodies of water with very limited access. And one of the keys to covering a lot of water and finding and getting to fish that nobody else can get to is my Torqeedo 403 ultralight kayak motor. The beautiful thing about it is that it can extend my range, and I can shorten my learning curve for learning large bodies of water to find that spot within the spot that's going to produce fish almost every time. Look, I don't take it on every outing, but I take it on the outings when I'm trying to learn the water, find the fish, and increase my odds for success every time that I go out. The Torqeedo 403 ultralight kayak motor is something every kayak angler who's serious about catching fish should take a look at.
With Hurricane Isaac pushing more rough weather their way, Chad and Scott end a good day of fishing early and make their way to the bass-filled mountaintop lakes of Monteagle, Tennessee. Stay tuned for lots more kayak bass fishing action. Welcome back to Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin. With Hurricane Isaac blowing through Louisiana, Chad and Scott have found themselves running around the state of Tennessee looking for decent weather. With things looking better down south, the guys head to the small town of Monteagle, where word has it, some mountaintop lakes offer the chance to hook into trophy Tennessee bass.
All right, so we made the move and we're back on fish. Get this guy back in the water. We are in Monteagle, Tennessee. Made the move about an hour south of where we were. Right out of the gate, Scott picked up a small fish, I picked up a small fish. We got completely soaked by a rainstorm that targeted just us. And we're back on fish. Haven't found that monster bass yet, but we're looking for her. We got one about 5 pounds, 5.5, respectable anywhere in the country. But we're looking to hit that Tennessee 8-pound mark. So I got a score to settle with some big Tennessee bass, and we're about to do that. I don't know if Scott's gonna do that, especially not with that hat he's wearing. I mean, seriously.
It's the only time you're gonna get to see that. That's how it happens right there. My goofy hat, my nerd hat.
Little guy. You know, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're handling these fish, especially a bigger fish, not that they're any more important, they're just harder to get than the smaller ones, is, I don't know if you notice, a lot of times right before I grab a fish, I always stick my hand in the water. And it's just a habit, because it's something that I really believe you should do, is wet your hand before you touch a fish. That way you don't touch a fish with that dry hand and take some of that protective slime off of them, which is, you know, crucial to their function of their immune system. So, you know, make sure when you think about it and when you can that you wet your hand before you handle the fish.
Come on up. Give us a jump. Oh, actually, I barely got him in that side right there. Come here. Come here, come here, come here. A little better fish. Saw him hit it right off the corner of that grass line where the bank changes. He put up a good fight for a little 2-pound fish. I'll show you what I caught him on. That's my all-time favorite color, almost no matter what water I'm fishing. That's the Zoom Super Fluke, white. Get it off here. He mangled it up nice and good for me. But that lure right there, it's one of my favorite all-time lures of fishing. And sight fishing at that. Really make this thing look wild in the water.
First cast it up, pulled it off the bank about 4 foot and probably 6 foot of water. Had to pick up immediately. I lifted my rod tip and the bass felt the line and spit the lure out. It picked it up and I put a little pressure on the line and he pitted it down. So one thing you want to do is if you ever feel a fish and they spit the lure out, just let it sit there. Have a staring contest with the fish. I let it sit probably a good minute, minute and a half. That fish came back over there. I saw the line jump, gave him a little bit of line, lowered my rod tip, watched the line move, reeled down, set the hook. So when you have those fish that are not that active, take the lure up. First of all, don't let them feel the pressure of the line. They'll spit it. But if they do, just let it sit there. You know, sometimes 3 or 4 minutes, but you know, easy 45, 50 seconds, a minute, and they'll pick it back up eventually. and that's when you get the fish that otherwise you'll just paddle right over the top of. Not a monster, but there's like a little, ooh, oh. No slouch though. Let me take a second and tell you what I'm using today and what I've used for this trip and why I chose those particular items for this trip. The boat that I'm using is the Wilderness Systems Commander 140. It's a canoe kayak hybrid, and the main reason that I chose this boat is because it allows me to sit down in it when I want to cover water. I can fold the seat and stow it and sit up in the captain's perch when I want to be a little more elevated, and it's also a great platform for standing to fish, for making long casts, for sight casting, for pitching and flipping, just a great overall platform. It's also equipped with the Wilderness Systems slide tracks, which allows me to use these great ram components, the screwball from Yak Attack, attach my side transducer arm to it, and then for, you don't have to be shooting a TV show to catch your next adventure. So with like the Mighty Mount and the little panfish from Yak Attack with a ram attachment. So when you're fishing varying conditions, when you're not gonna encounter any whitewater, the Wilderness Systems Commander 140, Yak Attack accessories coupled with a lot of the ram components make the ultimate 1, 2, 3 punch for catching more fish. This mountaintop region of Tennessee is some of the most beautiful country that I've ever been to. Just another reason that I'm glad I chose this place to set up residence. But it's my first time in the Monteagle, Tennessee area, and we came across Jim Oliver Smokehouse in the Inn. Stopped in for lunch, and oh my gosh. And it's like a walking history museum. It's a gift shop, and they also have an area that's dedicated to live music, interactive music in an intimate setting right there in the restaurant with some great legends of the game and some up-and-coming stars. So, between the luxury cabins, the more affordable, single bedroom cabins, to hotel room style accommodations, to an unbelievably diverse selection of southern home cooking, to a buffet, to a great gift shop, and a walking history lesson of this great mountaintop city, and unbelievable fishing. There's lakes everywhere. There's creeks that I've wanted to explore that run all the way to Lake Guntersville in Alabama that I'm gonna make the trip back here to do that for. So, you know what, if you're in the Monteagle, Tennessee area, make sure you stop by Jim Oliver Smokehouse and Inn. In fact, if you see the KayakBassFishing.com truck in there, ask for Chad and you'll find me somewhere gnawing on a rib bone. And if it's late enough and it's on the weekend, you'll also find me on the other side tapping my foot to some great live music. I'm in the tree. One thing you want to do when you've got a little bit of drift going and you're not anchored, especially if you're fishing a spinning rod, is to open the bail up and just hold the line with your finger. Okay, the wind's blowing. I'm gonna use the finger trick. That way, if one takes it, but you don't have enough line to give back to it, for it to get it good before you set the hook, you can just let go and give it a little bit of line, flip your bail. Or if you start to drift and you know your bait's in the treetop and you want it to stay there, you can open that bail and just let a little bit off at a time, and then just grab the line again, feel for it. When you feel that take, you flip the bail and set the hook, which is what I did right there. So that's a really cool little deep water fishing trick, and one of the reasons that I like to fish with a spinning rod. So,
I should have drawn a strike. Got him. Better fish.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. I've had a great time on my little tour of Tennessee. We started out in Crossville, the golf capital of the state, fishing some backwater lakes, and caught a lot of fish, and I got a great quality topwater bass on the Frog. Storms blew in and sent us to the top of the mountain where we finished the episode up in Monteagle, Tennessee. I got to thank my good friend Scott Heptinstall from EastTNFishing.net for tagging along for this whole episode, grinding it out, and fishing really hard to make this thing work. You know what? Until next week, we'll see you for some more kayak bass fishing action.